South Sudanese Civil War background. Previous rebellions. In 2010, after a disputed election, George III led the South Sudan Democratic Movement in rebellion against the government. The same year, a faction of the South Sudan Democratic Movement, called the Cobra Faction, led by David Yao Yao, rebelled against the government they accused of being prejudiced against the Merle. His faction signed a ceasefire with the government in 2011 and his militia was reintegrated into the army, but he then defected again in 2012. After the army's notorious 2010 disarmament campaign with widespread abuses of the Shilluk people, who were alleging persecution by the ruling Dinka, John Eleni from the Shilluk people began a rebellion, leading the Upper Nile faction of the South Sudan Democratic Movement. Gabriel Tang, who led a militia allied to Khartoum during the Second Sudanese Civil War, clashed regularly with the SPLA until 2011 when his soldiers were reintegrated into the National Army. In 2011, Peter Gadet led a rebellion with the South Sudan Liberation Army, but was reintegrated into the army the same year. In a strategy of co-option known as Big Tent, the government often buys off community militia and pardons its leaders. Others call the use of rebellion to receive public office as bad culture and an incentive to rebel. President consolidates power. After rumors about a planned coup surfaced in Juba in late 2012, South Sudanese President Salva Kiir began reorganizing the senior leadership of his government, party, and military in an unprecedented scale. In January 2013, Kiir replaced the Inspector General of the National Police Service with a lieutenant from the Army and dismissed 6 deputy chiefs of staff and 29 major generals in the Army. In February 2013, Kiir retired an additional 117 Army generals, but this was viewed as troublesome in regards to a power grab by others. Kiir had also suggested that his rivals were trying to revive the rifts that had provoked infighting in the 1990s. In July 2013, Kiir dismissed Vice President Riek Machar, one-time leader of the Nasir Revolt, along with his entire cabinet. Kiir suspended the SPLM Secretary-General Pagan Amamokh and forbade him from leaving Juba or speaking to the media. The decrees elicited fears of political unrest, with Machar claiming that Kiir's move was a step towards dictatorship and announcing that he would challenge Kiir in the 2015 presidential election. He said that if the country is to be united, it cannot tolerate one man's rule. Kiir disbanded all of the top-level organs of the SPLM party, including the Political Bureau, the National Convention and the National Liberation Council in November 2013. He cited their failed performance and the expiration of their term limits. Ethnic tension. In 2010, Dennis Blair, then United States Director of National Intelligence, issued a warning that over the next 5 years, a new mass killing or genocide is most likely to occur in southern Sudan. In 2011, there was fighting between the Merle and the Nuer, mostly over raiding cattle and abducting children to raise as their own. The Nuer White Army released a statement stating its intention to wipe out the entire Merle tribe on the face of the earth as the only solution to guarantee long-term security of Nuer's cattle. Notably, in the Pibber massacre, an estimated 900 to 3,000 people were killed in Pibber. Although Machar and Kiir are both members of the SPLM, they stem from different tribes with a history of conflict. Kiir is an ethnic Dinka, while Machar is an ethnic Nuer.